What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Tall Podcast. But as you see, Jalen Hurts is on the screen. Why? Because the narratives don't stop. It is July 5th. Hope everybody had a happy 4th of July for sure. But again, the narratives won't stop as it pertains to Jalen Hurts' leadership until the season starts. A couple wins, a couple big moments. You're going to see him lead the Eagles. You're going to see Eagles talk highly of him. I'm talking players, coaching staff, everyone. And then the narratives will finally slow down. Was he a bad leader in 2022 when the Eagles were number one in the NFC and went to the Super Bowl? No. I think Reuben Frank said it best. The turnovers were the problem, not his leadership. Again, all their turnovers were not Jalen's fault. Some of them were. Some of them were on play calling and everything that went wrong last year. Again, the narrative won't stop. First of all, who the heck is this dude? What's his name? Let me pull it up again. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Where is it? Who the heck is Chris Carlin? That's what I said. When I heard this statement by an ESPN broadcaster, I said, who the heck is Chris Carlin? Now let's actually read what he said. Jalen Hurts has got a problem here, and it's not stuff on the field. I worked in Philadelphia. What? First of all, I never heard of you on ESPN, and I never heard of you in Philadelphia. I'm 33 years old. I've been watching the Eagles since 7, 6, literally, of course, I always was an Eagle fan in my in diapers and Eagle onesies, but we really weren't watching the game and paying attention to it to probably 7, 8, 9. You really understand it. Anyway, who the heck is Chris Carlin? We gonna read this, but first, shout out to Notification Gang. Shout out to the 122 people in here for the first 2 minutes. Do your boy a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn on that bell. If you got that bell rung, you could be like the 118 people that are here. Again, I'm talking about these narratives because I find it hilarious. Hilarious. We've heard Fletch. We've heard AJ. We've heard Devontae. We heard Sirianni. We've heard Howie. Do you guys want Jalen Hurts to change? No. But Chris Carlin, I worked in Philadelphia, knows that there's locker room problems? Where were the locker room problems during the Devontae Smith charity softball game? It looked all fun and games to me. But anyways, Jalen Hurts has got a problem here, and it's not the stuff on the field. I worked in Philadelphia. I know the town pretty well. There were some things going on there with Jalen Hurts in that locker room in terms of guys not loving how he handled himself after they went to the Super Bowl and after he got paid. Come on. There are some fences for Jalen Hurts to mend in that locker room. The talent level is fantastic, so at least he knows Jalen Hurts is good. He's not trying to say he stinks. I worry about that being a situation that can blow up at any moment, and I think it does. And I think if it does, it's going to get ugly. ESPN's Chris Carlin. Just because you put the word ESPN in front of Chris Carlin don't make me think he know any more than you guys in the chat and me. I worked in Philly. I know this town. Huh? Who are you? Shoot. I don't agree with Howard Eskins all the time, but I know who he is. Zach Berman. Even old. Who are you? Again, I look at Jalen Hurts as we all do, a stoic personality who, when he was winning and being quiet, little words, choose them wisely, not a rah-rah guy. It was all fun and games. When we won the San Francisco 49, when he was drafted, you saw my YouTube short. If you didn't watch my YouTube short I put up a day or two ago, go check it out. My man got drafted in the second round, which was higher than some draft analysts had him. Some people had him as a third or fourth round, not saying where I had him, but some people. He was drafted in the second round, stone cold face. Once again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Trey, Romulus, Unspoken Word, Jay Johnson, Mama E, Berto, uh, what is it? Badland Bully, Fitness Warrior, Steven, Jason R, Daniel, um, Diana. Shout out to all yous in the chat. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to be reading some comments for sure. But I just look at this as it's funny to me that a guy who's probably getting his first chance on ESPN, like this is the dude. This is the dude. First chance on ESPN, and he's just downplaying. He's trying to take that narrative that was so popular this offseason and switch it up a little bit. Men fences in the locker room. Like, come on, bro. I didn't see anything wrong at the softball game, right? They looked all happy to me. I just can't wait for it to hit July 28th. I can't wait for training camp to come, right? Once we get to training camp, we're going to hear more of the real stories. We're going to hear from the people, right? The NovaCare practice starts, boom. First of all, I wish we were allowed to go to training camp like years past. There is one open practice on August 1st, but we're going to be able to hear from the players. And I guarantee you the beat writers are going to ask these players, how has Jalen Hurts been? Is it true? Blah, blah, blah. And they all shut it down. Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, Devontae Smith, AJ. We've heard from Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni on the situation, right? Like, if they're okay with them, if the people who are important in this organization is okay with the way Jalen Hurts is, so is Philly Mike. So should Chris Carlin and everybody else. It's a little hot up here today because I turned my AC on late. So, excuse me. Chris Carraway said just his personality. Exactly. But his personality was loved by all of us, including the locker room when we were winning games. Again, everybody can learn a thing or two, right? Jalen Hurts is not a finished product. Everybody in the NFL can get better on the field and off the field. Now, I rock with Jalen. Of course he can get better at some things. But they're making it out to be way worse than it needs to be. Men fences is just ridiculous to me. Now, this is an interesting thing I want to talk about. Y'all know how we do these live streams, right? I ramble on for 10 to 15 minutes about a topic, and then boom, the chat takes us wherever we need to go because there are other things I want to talk about, especially training camp. When we get to see how Jalen, how the offense, how the defense, how the coaching staff looks against each other. And remember, we do have a joint practice with the New England Patriots. And again, on August 1st, we had the live practice. But this was interesting to me. Teams the Eagles have their worst record against per win percentage in the regular season. Again, this is forever, ever. This is as long as these teams and the Eagles have been in the NFL. So we're going back 50, 60 years. But for some reason, when we play the Bengals, we can't really win. 3 wins, 9 losses, and 2 ties. 1 for Donovan McNabb, 1 for Carson Wentz. Can't really beat the Bengals for some reason. The Bears, we are 14-29. Now, the Bears are not that good, but they are getting better. Caleb Williams, they got some weapons over there. So we're going to see what happens. And again, we don't play the Bears this year. But if the Bears do become better and get into playoffs, we're the better team for sure. But it's weird to see some of these records. The Browns, we are 17-32 against. What? The Browns we don't play the Browns often. And back in the day, I guess the dog pound era, we probably played them more often, and they were pretty good, I guess. But 17-32-1. Packers 16-28. That's interesting to me because the Packers are the Philadelphia Eagles' week 1 opponent. Week 1 opponent. But we are 16-28 overall. Does what happened 50 years ago matter to Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith and company? No. But it's interesting to talk about. 16-28 versus the Packers. And we all know Seahawks have had our number, especially of late. 7-12 versus the Seattle Seahawks. Won't really see them unless they get to the playoffs. So I thought that was interesting to say the least. But again, I just look at this Jalen Hurts situation and I really laugh. You got to laugh. There's nothing else you can do because we all believe in him. And that's the most important thing. Outside of Philadelphia, none of their opinions matter. Now, again, NFL and ESPN analysts, their rankings matter, but not really. But I will respect somebody's opinion, always. But you got to have some facts behind it. And for him to say, first of all, he ain't the only one. Like, the narrative has been spun. Every time we talk about Jalen Hurts' leadership, they just change a couple of the words and try to make it into a new story. He has to mend fences. So we've heard that people are unhappy with him, but like you said, they changed the word around, redate it, and they try to sell the same click stuff that they were talking about to end the season. So you're telling me, even if there were problems in that locker room, you don't think OTAs kind of cleaned it up? You don't think the Devontae Smith softball game cleaned it up? Like, bro, if there were an issue in January after we got spanked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if there was an issue, I think grown men like A.J. Brown, Lane Johnson, Jalen Hurts would have already hashed it out. Done. Kellen Moore gets there. If Kellen Moore hears from Philadelphia insiders like Chris Carlin, if Kellen Moore hears there's a problem in the locker room, you don't think he comes to the Eagles organization and addresses it? Hey, Jalen, what's going on? Who we got to talk to? Like, first of all, to me, there really was never. Were we upset? Were we frustrated? Were we losing? Yeah. 5 out of the last 6 and got spanked by Baker Mayfield. But even if it was a small friction in there, it's over. These are grown men. This is a new year. March 13th was the start of the 2024 season. Yeah, we can't get on the field on March 13th, but Saquon was acquired. Bryce Huff was acquired. March 13th was the mark for the new year league. New league year, I mean. Last year. Oh, but things don't change that much. Huh? 2016, we didn't make the playoffs. 2017, we won the damn Super Bowl. Maybe NBA, maybe NHL don't change from year to year, but the NFL is a week to week, year to year. Everything changes. Just like that. So stop trying to switch the words around, redate the article, and sell it to us. Now, before we go any further, and definitely I want the chat to take the conversation to any other spot. Rookies, people we should sign, people who might get cut, blah, blah, blah. But before we do that, let's hear a word from our sponsor. And I got to make sure it plays on the desktop. Hold on one second. Sorry about that, guys. Give me 1 second. First time I'm doing a ad like this live, so let me eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe real quick. Mando, there it is. All right, let's see if it plays now. Let's hear a word. Let's hear a word from our sponsor. Mando, the best way to control odor for your pits, packages, and feet. And I know some of y'all need it for your feet. My favorite is the deodorant Mount Fuji. Sorry about the green screen, but this deodorant is the longest lasting deodorant I honestly ever use. Some of these other brands claim 48 hours. They barely work for 6 to 8. Plus, you put some other deodorants on, guess what? It's itchy, it's sticky, it bothers, at least me. I know it bothers some of y'all. This one is so smooth and solid. I promise you can't go wrong with this, but in a starter pack, you get wipes. Quick for your packages, your feet, or the pits real quick, especially after the gym, right? Plus, they come with a lotion. That's mainly for those feet and those packages that, you know what I mean, the soap and the showers don't do. You still should be taking a shower. Go to the description or the pinned comment section at shopmando.com. Click it. Use promo code PhillyMike, all capitals, to get $5 off. Once again, link in the description and the pinned comment at shopmando.com. Click the link, use code PhillyMike, all capital, not the exclamation point, and get $5 off your starter pack. Shout out to Mando for sure. Again, go get your stuff. It is very, very necessary to have in the months of July. Again, it's just good hygiene. You got to keep up with it. The link will be in the description once this episode is over. I'm going to drop the link and pin it to the chat in case you want to get it right now. But if you don't get it now, come back to the video. It will be in the description. I forgot to put it in the description. But again, Mando, it's important to have. You got to keep up. Lotions, wipes, and of course, the deodorant, which is my favorite for sure. Shout out to everybody in the building. Donnie Ford, what's going on with you? Swift said, I think back to when Jalen had to check Nick during the huddle because Nick clearly wasn't focused. Again, yes, the coaching staff deserves a lot of blame for most of the stuff that went wrong last year, for sure. Philly Tress said, I met Freddie Mitchell at KOP like a week ago. Hey, shout out, Freddie Mitchell, strapping on the belt, the champ. 4th and 22. Was it 4th and 22? Or 4th and 24? I think 22. Gotta love that. Greg said, who do you think will start at wide receiver 3, or do you think we go into free agency for it? I think we got wide receiver 3 on the roster. I'm looking for Anaya Smith to step up and to finally steal it, but I think week 1, it's Paris Campbell's job. I like what he brings as a speedster in the slot. And again, if we can get the 2022 version of him with the Indianapolis Colts, 500, 600 yards on limited catches, I like it. Ohama Means Family said, would you trade James Bradbury to the Panthers to get Miles Sanders back? I mean, I might just trade James Bradbury for anybody to open up the door and really let these young boys play via, I don't know, Keeley, Quinion, Isaiah Rodgers. So bringing back Miles, he was good when he was here. He'll get whoever's RB2 should get limited touches due to the fact that Saquon's going to be a workload. It's 4th and 26. Thank you. Again, you can see I'm sweating. And again, I turned the AC on a little late. 4th and 26. Freddie Mitchell versus the Green Bay Packers, man. What a amazing playoff dub for the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, do your boy a favor and go get Mando. Let me put the link in the description. I gotta get the link. I'm again doing this a little late, so you know me. Not very well with keeping up with what I should be keeping up with. Like, I have all the time. I put this up at 2. I had a whole hour to get right. And of course, Philly Mike would find a way to not get right. Let me drop it real quick, please. Bear with me. While we're bearing with me, I'm going to play the intro that some of y'all miss a lot. A lot of y'all keep asking me for the intro back. We're going to get a new intro similar to this. But let's play it real quick while I pick this up.
This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike. Talking Sixers in the Bird Gang, that's I like. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, Eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
Well, there you go. That's the intro. And we stopped talking Sixers on here, but we will bring back the Sixers in a different capacity. I might start a new channel for the Sixers, but I put the link for Mando in the live chat. It is pinned. Is it pinned yet to the top of the chat? It should be pinned to the top of the chat. Again, click the link, use promo code Philly Mike, all capitals, and get, I think it's 25% off. 25% off your starter pack, which is $5 because it's not expensive. It'd be the best starter pack you ever got when it comes to personal hygiene. They keep you right. CB in the building. What's good? How you been? Unspoken Word said, you're good, Philly Mike. Go Birds. You already know. Jay Johnson said, don't change the intro. I'm with you. I might just, as you see, the graphics are pretty blurry. The graphics are blurry. So we might have to change the graphics, but the song is the song. Shout out to Nico Dot for dropping that gem for me. Ohama said, do you think there's any chance Big Play Slay will be back next season? Listen, I'm a big fan of Big Play Slay. Had him on the channel, and he said he's going to come back on again closer to training camp. So when we actually get to see some training camp, hopefully Slay comes on and gives us his perspective of it. But I honestly do not see Slay coming back next year. And again, if guys like Cooper DeJean is balling out like we think they're going to ball out, if Quinyon Mitchell's a stud like we think he's going to be, if Isaiah Rodgers is going to be here long term, which I can definitely see after this year, a big deal going for him, Bradbury and Slay era will be over. Like, I'm happy Slay's here for a couple reasons. One, to mentor the young guys, right? Quinyon Mitchell modeled his game after Slay. A year with him helping him will be huge. But after this year, it's the youngsters, Keely Ringo, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Isaiah Rodgers. That secondary is going to be young. The oldest guy is going to be C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's still young. Again, I'm not saying it's 100% chance that big play Slay won't come back, but just the communication we've had, don't look like it. It's the last year of Slay to me. Badland Bully said the push from the middle of the D-line will be devastating with Carter, Davis, and Williams. I absolutely agree. Again, Milton is underrated. His role is going to be bigger and badder than it's ever been. Badder in a good way, not a bad way. And Jalen Carter. Chris Long said he could be the best Eagles defensive lineman ever. That is high praise. And year one, what do you have? 6.5 sacks? Year two, I'm betting that he has double-digit sacks. Mark my words, double-digit sacks. Shout out to my guy, Eagles Playbook Podcast with the $5 super chat. What's good, Philly Mike? I appreciate you coming on the podcast. We got to get you back on soon. Hey, it was very, very fun. Definitely go subscribe to Eagles Playbook Podcast. Do your boy a favor, Eagle Nation. Either do it right now, leave the stream, go to the search bar, type in Eagles Playbook Podcast, subscribe, click his last video, and comment, Go Birds. If you don't want to do it now because you don't want to miss the live stream, it's all good. But then remember, when you get off this live stream, to go to Eagles Playbook Podcast, search it in the search bar, and then subscribe. And also type Go Birds on his last video. We at 94 likes. Can we get 6 more likes? Also subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you can join us, not for just the videos, the live streams, the topics that you guys can bring to me. Jacob said C.J. Gardner-Johnson is the uncle of the secondary. I love it, though. Imagine that. A 26, 27-year-old as the uncle, as the old man in the secondary. Sidney Brown developing. Who knows what Reed can become. Then you got Quinyon, Isaiah, Keely. And remember, there's still a possibility that down the line, maybe if we still have, again, if Keely Ringo is legit like we think, Isaiah Rodgers signs a long-term deal, Quinyon's a stud, how is Cooper ever going to get on the field as a cornerback? Well, guess what? Maybe want to maximize the talent. Maybe he eventually becomes a safety. That was talked about during the draft process. Now, yes, it's not talked about anymore, but who knows if it gets brought back up. Jason R. said, I will say this. We cannot lose the Green Bay week 1. If we do, boy, they're going to write us completely off. LOL. Won't be a good look, but I like our chances. We're the better team. Again, Green Bay's an up-and-coming team. Shout out to Jordan Love. Shout out what they built. And I like what they did, some of the little pieces they added in the offseason. Remember, we get Cooper DeJean, who they wanted, but they got Edgerrin Cooper, who a lot of Eagle fans wanted. I look at it like this. Jason R., you're absolutely right. You got guys like Chris Carlin, who claims to know Philadelphia. I worked in Philadelphia. When? Where? How? No, it's not true. Anyways, they've been dropping ugly fake narratives about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles all offseason. If we go to week 1 and come home from Brazil with an L, yes, the national media will write us off. Oh, the Eagles are not who we thought they were. What? Week 1 loss? Then what happens if we rattle off 4 dubs in a row? Oh, the Eagles are back. Flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. That's what a lot of the national media does. Now, look, I understand opinions changing on a team. They started out bad. They turned hot. But one loss in the National Football League against a good team or a bad team will not make or break you. Again, when we went to the Super Bowl, we lost to the Washington Commanders with a backup quarterback. The Chiefs in multiple Super Bowl runs lost to teams like the Colts before they had Anthony Richardson. The Raiders, we know who the Raiders are, you know. Super Bowl contenders lose to bad teams once in a while, but week one, you're right. They're going to really write us off. We've been waiting all season. We got to get a dub there. As much as I'm ready to get to week one like you guys are, I'm so curious about training camp, how we're going to match up with the New England Patriots in joint practice, things like that. It's still fun to me. Here's my thing. I can't wait for training camp, and I can't wait for the preseason. But once training camp comes, now we got that, I get greedy and say, okay, I want more. And what's more than training camp? Preseason. What's more than preseason? The season. So the first preseason game, I'm hyped. But then it's like, can we fast forward? But I am interested because of some of the positional battles. And because I believe in my heart of hearts that this Eagles team is 1,000% a contender. 1,000% a contender. We have to answer some of these questions before we get to the regular season. What questions do we need to answer? Who's really linebacker 2? Are we sure Tyler Steen is right guard? How much of a difference is the O-line going to be with Cam Jurgens over Jason Kelce? Love Cam, but he got to fill in Hall of Famer shoes. Jordan Davis, Stanima. Who the heck is going to be our starting DBs? So many good options. Who's it going to be? These are questions we got to answer. Now, I'm not really nervous about the answers to these questions, but I still want to know them. Shout out to CB with a $20 banger. You know what I would be doing right now if the Eagles was on? First of all, I'd be extra hype if we were watching week one Eagles versus Packers, but the $20 banger would make me take a shot of Crown Rizzy. I can't wait to get back to them days. CB with the $20 banger, biggest one of the day, like Slay, but don't, I like Slay, but you don't draft 2 corners for Slay to be here next year. Barkley will ball out this year if he stays healthy. Muscle up and a bird emoji. Hey, CB said it best. You do not draft 2 young corners for Bradbury and Slay to be here next year. Now, you did sign Bradbury to a bigger contract when we thought he was 2022 Bradbury. That quickly changed. I'm not going to write him off fully, but look, they thinking about moving him to safety for a reason. They're being cut in trade talks for a reason. Dave Spadaro said, we don't know what's going to happen with Bradbury for a reason, and Dave Spadero's never negative at all. CB laid it out perfectly. If we would have drafted 1 corner, maybe look, Slay's cap hit is going to be big. We almost lost him to the Ravens last year for that same reason. Just by talking to him off camera. If Slay comes back, it will shock me. I think both parties are going to be willing to move on. Slay get one more payday before it's time to go. And the Eagles don't draft 2 corners in the first and second round to keep the older vets in. New era. Fletch, off the D-line, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis-Milt. Slay out, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Zaire Rogers, Keely Ringo. It's a new world. I like the world that's being built, though. Eagles Playbook Podcast said Slay definitely going next year. I'm with you. Eagles Uncut, what's going on? Rufus Wallace said, long as we come out of camp with no injury-free, Green Bay will be 0-1, I trust. I'm with you, Rufus. As much as we have to come out of camp healthy. That's super important. Super important to come out of training camp healthy. My own perspective, shout out to you for joining the Philly Talk 24/7, becoming a member. I appreciate you. Benjamin said this will be Jalen Hurts' best year as a pro. I absolutely agree with you. I think Jalen Hurts is going to change the game, right? we saw him as the runner-up for the MVP in 2022. Well, now you have a different offense, right? Got to learn a new offense. I understand that, but this offense is going to have so many dynamic moving pieces. I'm talking personnel and play calling, right? Jalen Hurts using motion to help read the defense. Jalen Hurts using motion to get guys like Smitty and AJ, who normally beat cornerback 1 and 2s, they might get matched up with safeties. They might get matched up with linebackers. CD is a good receiver, no ifs, ands, or buts, but he eats sometimes against linebackers. Jalen Hurts is going to spot that one-on-one after the motion from Smitty, and he's going to exploit it. I think just the presence of a Saquon Barkley in the backfield is going to allow Jalen Hurts to be more dangerous with his legs. And again, because of Saquon, we're going to have one-on-ones. Jalen Hurts knows how to exploit the one-on-ones. I can't wait. Eagles Uncut with their $2 super chat. Appreciate the love and support. First game of the season in my hometown. Let's bleep and go. A shout out to Brazil. My man's hometown. Man, we got to come away with a dub. Just because of the national media, this is one of the big. I mean, every game is big in the National Football League. You only get 17, right? In the NBA, you can lose 5 or 6 games in a row, and it doesn't even matter. Not in football, and not if you're the Eagles. Real quick, I do want to remind you, in the live chat, there's a link in the chat, pinned to the top. Control body odor anywhere with @ShopMando. Get $5 off your starter pack. That's over 40% off with promo code PhillyMike. Click the link. Bink. Type in Philly Mike, all capitals, in the promo section and get 40% off your starter pack. That is wipes, lotion, and a deodorant that is not sticky, not itchy, and it's the longest lasting one I ever used. Again, it's hot. I turned my AC on late. I'm sweating. Thank God I got Mando on. I'm trying to tell you. And the females in here, you don't need Mando. But if you got a Mando, get Mando. That's a bar. Told you. LB got to get me on his. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm the furthest thing from a rapper. You know what I mean? Shout out to Rufus Wallace with the $5 super chat. Appreciate the love and support. AJ, the Brown Hornet, is going to sting that Giants defense and the NFC. He got me hyped. Man, the Giants Hard Knocks clips that were leaked on Twitter, that should inspire Saquon Barkley. But it didn't just inspire Saquon Barkley. A.J. Brown said, fam, I got you. I'm going to do everything in my power. Everything in my power to make sure you get yours, which is balling this season and the Eagles win. You know what? I'm so happy for Saquon Barkley. He's been on the losing. Oh my goodness. Listen, when he gets the ball in his hand, he has to dip and dodge through 2 to 3 defenders before he even got back to the line of scrimmage. The Philadelphia Eagles running backs had the most yards before contact in the NFL in 2023. Swift, Boston Scott, Kenny G. These guys had the luxury of Grand Canyon holes opening up. Pause. You get Saquon Barkley running through an open hole like the Grand Canyon. Pause again. Once he gets to full steam, who's stopping him? See, the Eagles' problem, and it wasn't a big problem because our run game was pretty good. Our run game was good. We just didn't utilize it as much as we should, but you don't not use a Ferrari if it's in your garage. That being said, the Eagles' running backs as a group were number 1 in the NFL from yards before contact. That means they got a lot of yards before they even got touched by a defender. But for some reason, the Eagles running backs were 31st. We were second to last in yards after contact. That means most of the good runs was because of the O-line. Really, anybody could have ran through them things. But now you got Saquon, a generational talent who's carried the Giants. In 2022, when they went to the playoffs and beat the Vikings and advanced to the divisional round, Saquon Barkley said, "Get on my back. I got you guys." Carried them all the way. That's a big burden for a running back. His rookie season, he had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Dude almost had 1,000 yards receiving. Had like 800 yards receiving. Dude caught the ball 91 times. Bro had 91 catches for 800 yards. Dude had 1,300 yards on the ground rushing, 700 or 800 through the air on 91 catches. My God. That's wild. I love it, though. I absolutely love it. Grind Time said, Giants getting blown out this year like 42-7. Sign me up. Wheezy the dreaded Eagle in the building. Go Birds regardless. Love it, love it, love it. iShine said, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. We got 314 people in the building. Only 137 likes. We should be able to get that to 200 likes ASAP Rocky. Cool Cat Connor in the building. Shout out to Cool Cat. Shout out to all the Eagle guys up in here. Go sub to their channels for sure. Cool Cat Connor. Hit that subscribe button. Eagles Playbook Podcast. Eagles Uncut. If I missed you, comment again. Ohana Mean said, who would you rather have, Hunter Renfrow or Michael Thomas? I'll take Renfrow. If I had to pick between Michael Thomas, and again, I'm not mad if the Eagles add a receiver. It's just not high on my priority list because I do believe in the guys on the roster. I'm talking Anaya Smith, Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, and even a John Ross. That being said, if I had to pick eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Hunter Renfrow or Michael Thomas, I'm taking Renfrow. Philly Flyover said sign Josh Woods. Interesting. Unspoken Word said Saquon has to tell us how to stay healthy in that death trap. Yeah. The Giant Stadium is 100% a death trap. Rufus Wallace said that O-line going to be open like the doctors. Open like doors to a clearance cell. 1,900 yards combined. Sign me up for that. The magic number was 1,800. No Cut Sports Podcast in the building. That's another one. Go subscribe to the channel. Go get him. He said, I like Thomas, but for certain plays, not as a true wide receiver 3. Yeah, look, I honestly, if we would sign a guy like Michael Thomas, I wouldn't want him to be wide receiver 3. I would sign Thomas and only really keep him as a spare outside receiver whenever, Smitty or AJ needs a breather and or if they get nicked up. Daniel said, what would be a successful season for Nolan Smith in your opinion? I'm saying 5 sacks. 6. We're close. You got 5 sacks. I got 6. Again, I believe to start the season off is going to be he's going to play more for sure. Without Hassan Reddick being here, he's going to play more. But Bryce Huff takes Hassan Reddick's place. How much does it switch? I can see in the start of the season, Bryce Huff and Josh Sweat as your bookend pass rushers. Of course, you got the rotation piece of Nolan Smith, the rotation piece of Brandon Graham. You got guys like Jalix Hunt, Okuwara. You got Zach Bond who can play end and rush the passer as well. But it's going to be Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff, and the very third guy. I think they're going to have Nolan Smith ahead of Brandon Graham as in rotation percentage. So I think Nolan Smith. Let me just throw a number out there. Week 1, he plays 28% of the snaps, 28-30. Week 2, 28-30. But by week 4, 5, 50%. His snaps are going to rise. And I got 6 sacks. I already said, I'm already on record saying I pretty much guarantee 6+ sacks for Nolan Smith, or that's what I'm predicting. Now, if he goes out there and gets double digits, I'm going to be like, I told you, we got one of them. Boy, we got somebody. He was called a baby Hassan Reddick. He's learned from Hassan Reddick. He's been getting praise from Slay, Hassan himself, BG. Lane has talked about him, right? I like his game. Jason R said, keep your eyes on Milton. My eyes never left. I'm with you, Jason. Louis V. TMC said, prefer Wilson than Thomas, younger and hungrier. I'm with you. Johnny Adams said, Nolan will get 7 sacks, no problem. We should shine Renfro because he is a 3-receiver type, maybe looking at a defense tackle for backup. Other than that, man, we are ready for the season. I'm with you. And I do like Renfro as the wide receiver 3 in the slot, but if something does happen to a Smitty or AJ, he's versatile to play outside. Knight Rider said, too excited for the season. K-Mac, we need that. I'm with you. Witch King said, Milton fitting to get paid. Hey, it is contract year for Milton. There's been murmurs that the Eagles and him had little talks about it. All that being said, he want to get paid. He got a ball. In a Fangio scheme, he's going to be on the field, not just as a rotational piece. There's going to be a lot of plays where we see Carter, Davis, and Milton in a 5-man front with 2 pass rushers on the outside, 1-on-1, 1 on each side. Brian said, why when you got Cam can handle it? Who we talk about? Nicholas. Tyler Nicholas. What's the biggest question mark going into camp? Probably linebacker still. Again, I think the pass rush in general is a little bit of a question because you lost Fletch and Hassan, and you're counting big time on Davis, Milton, and Nolan and BG. But I still would have to say linebacker. Linebacker, I'm a big believer in what Devin White brings to the table. I think he's going to have a bounce-back season. Devin White is only 26 years old. He's not old. He's just entering his prime. Just entering his prime. Yes, he had a down season last year. We talked about that. He's talked about that. More mental than physical. And more of an attitude adjustment with coaching members on that Tampa Bay Buccaneer squad. But it is what it is. I got to say linebacker. Love Devin, but I don't know what we're going to get from a Nakobe Dean, Jeremiah Trotter, Zach Bond, Oren Burks lineup. Brad Wright said the Cowboys' whole offseason been like June and July. Dead. Just dead. Did y'all see that Dak Prescott had a walking boot? I think somebody in here said it. No Cut Sports Podcast might have said it. Chris Calloway said, I got 8 for him. Sign me up for 8 Nolan Smith sacks. Sign me up. I got you too, Tyler. Louis said, our weakest position is linebacker room. Think that changes with Devin this year and he gets extended? Yeah. Devin White is changing, is going to make our linebacker room better for sure. But who else is behind him? Because we do know that Fangio does rely on safeties and linebackers to run this scheme. You got to be active at the linebacker spot. And who's that guy? Now, Weezy the Dreaded Eagle, I was just on his channel with a bunch of other Eagle guys, and I told them all. If Eagles Playbook podcast is still in here, he's not a believer of Nakobe Dean, and I can't get mad at him. If anybody says to me, Nakobe Dean, gotta show me, I'm with you. I am right. I mean, I'm with the people who says Nakobe Dean gotta show me. What I can't get on board with is he's automatically done. I can't get on the automatically done part, but I am with anybody and everybody who says he got to show me, because he got to show me too. And before I can judge his play, can I get 4 games in a row? Can I get 2 or 3 or 4 games in a row? Jacob said, this will be my first training camp actually paying attention. Been a fan for 20 years. Hey, yeah, hey, I love all Eagle fans. The guys who can only watch when football season and want to take a vacation for the off season, cool. But the sickos, as Jimmy would say, and just the diehards Man, we eat it all up. Pause. Training camp, practice, everything. Any and every time the Eagles touch grass, we there for it. We talking about it. We loving it. Show enough said, if I'm honest, I don't have that much expectation on Nolan. Hope he does shine, though. See? And listen, anybody who's critical on an Eagles player, whether that's Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, I love the mindset of a show enough 215. Straight up honest. I don't have that much expectation for Nolan Smith. But because he bleed green. See, he doesn't believe that Nolan Smith he doesn't have that big of an expectation for him. But he's never going to root against him. See, some people would say what Show Enough said and then root against him because you know what? They just want to be right. Ha! I told you Nolan Smith is not that good. I told you he wasn't going to do this. Okay, you're happy you were right. But because he's not that, it hurt our team. So, yes, you're right. Congratulations. I'm mad, too. But that's why Show Enough said at the very end of his thing, I hope he shines, though. When I say something negative about an Eagles player, I hope they prove me wrong. I don't want to be right. I only want to be right when I'm telling you on the good side. If I say, Nakobe didn't got to show me. I'm hoping he shows me. If he doesn't show me, I could be like, I told you I wasn't really on it. Nah, I don't want to be right then. It's all about the Eagles' prosperity. And I love that mindset. Elijah said, no Diddy, though. Eagles Playbook Podcast said, Weezy, what up? Oh, there you go. Trey, what's going on? Again, Brian said, we got a lot of young guys in the building. We definitely do. And again, some of the young guys already got to learn. Again, Fletch last year was big for Davis, Carter, and Milton. Kelsey's last year was huge for Cam Jurgens. This is going to be Darius Big Play Slay's last year. And I think he's going to play good. And even still, him in the building is very good for Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. Show Enough said, Mike, on Honey, you already know. Philly Flyover said the only thing that Kobe Dean got in him is glass. He's been fragile. I can't deny it. Benjamin said D must stay healthy. White and Bond are there for now, and Trotter will push for a starting role. Man, if Jeremiah Trotter, as a fifth-round draft pick, comes in and balls out, talk about another Howie Roseman absolute steal. If we get starter quality minutes from Jeremiah Trotter in year one, steal. Absolute steal. Disrespectful 214 said Blankenship is still riding the wave off that Aaron Rodgers interception. All right, I got to know how this crowd right now feels. Again, we only got 320 of the thousands of subscribers that I have in the live chat today. However, right now, y'all my go-to. Y'all the ones here. Y'all the ones that I'm going to ask this question to. Do you believe in Reed Blankenship? Do you think he is a good safety? Do you believe in him? Yes or no? Do you believe in Reed Blankenship? Again, I want to say this. Last year, his cover grade per PFF was 75. He was our best tackler. There are better safeties out there. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is our best safety now. I don't know about Sidney Brown, but people act like Reed Blankenship has been in the league for like 5, 6, 7 years. The dude's going into year 3, only started 1 year, and he's a UDFA. So I'm not saying, yes, he's our safety for the future. But the Eagles did extend him 1 year. I've seen some good stuff. I want to see more. I'm not going to straight up say, yeah, in 4 years, he's going to be the best safety in the league. But I am really, really willing to learn more about him. And I'm curious to see if or when Sidney Brown can beat him out for that starting position. But I think, again, a UDFA, you got to give him at least 2 or 3 years. We giving second and third round picks 2 or 3 years. Again, first year was in 2022, was a backup. Only came in when C.J. Gardner-Johnson got injured. 2023, first year starting. And that secondary was a hot mess. We forced Reed Blankenship to be safety number 1. Well, maybe his best role is safety number 2. With CJ being the top dog at safety, maybe Reed can fill that spot at safety too. Maybe Sidney Brown takes it. I don't know. I'm rooting for whoever's the best man. If Sidney Brown gets back healthy and proves he's better, it's his job. But I just think a lot of people are pretty hard on Reed. Let's see what y'all had to say. That was my long rambling of Reed Blankenship. Brian said facts. Daniel said I do not believe in him. Hit that like button. Let's get it to 200. Says grind time. Hit the like button. It's free. It's easy. It don't cost a thing. We need 22 more likes. Subscribe to the channel and turn on that bell so you're here. Let's see what y'all say. Daniel said he's below average. Witch King said I believe in him as a backup. Cam is going to step up. I agree. Trey believes in him. David believes in him. Reed will play better alongside CJ, says Eagle Nest. Peter Roddy believes. Brandon believes. Twits believes. He said, Ed Reed Blankenship season, baby. Mr. Taz said, yes, I think Reed is good as a backup safety. Dang, it just jumped on me. Eagles playbook said I want Sidney to start, but if it's not going to happen to his injury, you're right. We'll see by week 3, though. Mike said he's not better than Sidney Brown, but he's consistent when healthy. All right. Showing up said Eagle Al, what's up? Oh, Eagle Al in the building? Okay, I see Eagle Al in the building. Why my man don't got a wrench? And hey, Eagle Al, we need a collab soon. We've been talking about it. Reed is good, but he's not better than Sidney Brown or CJ Garner-Johnson. Ooh. Eagle Al coming in here saying, shut up, Mike, he not better. No, I'm just kidding. Again, I think as it pertains to being athletic, Sidney Brown got him beat. Sidney Brown is quicker. Sidney Brown is more athletic. Sidney Brown is just a better athlete. But I do just like the way Sidney Brown is a reckless tackler, though. He got to clean that up. I like the reckless nature of a Sidney Brown at safety, like Troy Polamalu flying around back there and everything. But he does got to clean up. He got to make sure he wraps. You can't just hit stick everybody. You know what I mean? But look, we drafted Sidney Brown to be safety 2, to be a starting safety. We drafted him in the 3rd round to be a starting safety eventually. I just don't want to write off Reed Blankenship yet. That's just me. Eagle Al said trade bait. Okay. Unspoken said I believe he's a good safety, but his physical skills are limited. Again, you're right. The better athlete is 100% Sidney Brown. 803 Hitman, what's going on, my guy? Fly Park says CJ GJ will be post safety. Blankenship in the box. Good year for Blankenship. True. The biggest oof play I can think of as it pertains to Reed Blankenship is when Darius Slayton beat him for like a 60, 70-yard touchdown. And again, I don't trust Reed Blankenship in a foot race. I don't trust Reed Blankenship playing that post safety, as Fly Parks just said. But he did lead the Eagles in tackles. And if you can have a tandem of CJ as the high safety and Reed Blankenship in the box, right here, right now, who's the better box safety? Sidney Brown or Reed Blankenship? If you're asking me in the box, I'm taking Reed. Who's the better athlete? I'm taking Sidney. Show Enough 215 said Sidney got to beat out Reed, though. He does. He got it. First of all, I agree with Show Enough. He has to beat him out before we can just put him there. The Eagles did extend Reed 1 year. That's not fully believing in him, but letting us know, hey, put some respect on his name. But I agree. I've said this in almost every time I prop up Reed Blankenship, I come back with this. We drafted Sidney Brown to be a starting safety. If we believe that CJ Garner-Johnson was going to be on the team, because I think, during the 2022 season, we weren't able to keep CJ going further. After the 2022, we weren't able to keep him. He left. Now he came back. But in the Eagles' mind, I think they were like this. We want to keep CJ Garner-Johnson, and we want to draft Sidney Brown to be safety 2. They drafted Sidney Brown in the 3rd round they wanted Sidney to beat Reed Blankenship. Now, Sidney Brown had a good game versus Tampa, played good against the Cardinals, had a good game, I believe it was the Dolphins or the Bills. I don't know. One of the Kelly Greens, I think. Anyways, he was drafted to beat out Reed Blankenship. He has all the tools to beat out Reed Blankenship, but until he physically does it, and coming back from that ACL is not going to be easy, peasy, lemon squeezy. I got to see it. But yes, Sidney Brown should and will eventually beat out Reed Blankenship. But until then, I just don't like, I just can't call Reed Blankenship a bum. That's what I can't do. We need 5 more likes. 5 more likes. Let's get it. Shout out to Jacob with the $20 banger. Jacob wasn't here last year, especially during the live play-by-plays. We do the Eagles live play-by-plays. Philly Mike wears his heart on his sleeve. That's when you see me in my true element. Crown Rizzy. Eagles get busy. Every $20 super chat, Philly Mike takes a shot. Don't kill me. But my guy said, bold prediction 1. Eagles have a top 5 secondary this season. Check. I co-sign it. Bold prediction 2. Eagles win the Super Bowl. Check. I'm going to co-sign that. Bold prediction 3. Saquon outplays CMC. What do you think, Mike? Appreciate the content. I appreciate the love and support. I appreciate the likes, the views, the super chats, all the stuff that you and everybody else does. I'm co-signing all of them. I think this roster is as good, if not better, as a whole than the 2022 roster. Yes, it is going to be yes, we're going to miss Jason Kelce and Fletcher's leadership and play, for sure. If any other center had to come in and replace Kelce, I'd be even more nervous. But Cam Jurgens models his game from Kelce. He was handpicked. I really do feel like the way the Green Bay Packers had Brett Favre for all them years and then, whoop, had Aaron Rodgers, that's what's going to happen with Cam. I really do believe that. That's why I can simply say, and Jalen Carter is Fletch. It's a young Fletch. Fletch is a Hall of Famer. We about to get another Hall of Famer for 10 years too in Jalen Carter. So I do believe this is the better roster than the 2022 Eagles. Coach and staff is important, and I love it. Kellen grew on me, but I do believe that his offense is going to be able to work with these skill positions, with this leader, this QB1. So, yes, I co-sign all of them. It ain't easy to win a Super Bowl. We know that. We only did it one time. However, we were there 2 years ago, and we have the talent to get right back. What was I about to say? Eagle Owl. Oh, he's saying what up to the people. Shout out to Big Marshall 38 with the $5 banger. If Brown is healthy, if Sidney Brown is healthy, he's the starter. Vic loves athletic, versatile safeties. I absolutely agree. Sidney Brown is a Fangio type guy, for sure. For sure. He wants the safety to fly around. That being said, though, I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson is still going to be the post safety, as Fly Park said. And with C.J. Gardner-Johnson being a post safety, I do like Reed in the box. Like, Reed is a solid box safety, but I agree with you. Sidney Brown's play style just screams Fangio. We know Sidney Brown is a hard worker. He gives 120%. So you're right. And again, as I want to just elaborate off Big Marshall's 38 $5 super chat. If Brown is healthy, he's the starter. Vic loves athletic, versatile safeties. Absolutely agree. And I also will say this. Sidney Brown was drafted, once again, to replace Reed Blankenship and or be a starting safety. Because I guarantee you the offseason in April, correct me if I'm wrong, did C.J. Gardner-Johnson sign with the Lions before the draft or after the draft? Anyways, he was drafted to be a starter. And as soon as Sidney Brown gets his NFL legs right and gets back from that ACL, he will be an Eagles starting safety. And because we got C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, looks like it's going to be over Reed Blankenship. But I got to see it to believe it still. A lot of talent in the secondary says, sure enough, I love it. Again, we're in a very good spot. And this ain't talent, old guy talent. This is 22, 23, 24-year-old young talent for the next 10 years. If we play our cards right, Eagles can have a mean green secondary for a long time. Long time. Eagle Al said before. So, okay. So, yeah, he left before the draft. So, the Eagles did have a wide open safety thing. So, but you draft Cindy Brown to be a starter. By signing C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, you pretty much say, hey, Reed, you only here until Cindy Brown does what we know he can do. For sure. 803 Hitman says, have we heard anything about Matt Hennessy during OTAs? Nothing bad, nothing good. Again, sometimes not hearing about a guy is not a bad thing. Could be that again, is the offensive lineman going to jump off the board in OTAs when there's no pads on, right? Think about it. OTAs is more for the skill positions, right? You get to see one-on-ones, Isaiah Rodgers versus A.J. Brown, and, wide receiver versus corner is the I knocked my lamp down. What the heck is going on? All right, that's better. Knock my lamp down. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So it's look at Saquon catching the ball at the backfield, going against Devin White. Corners versus